the nuclear weapon is only one switch away, and the risks are quite real with the likes of Putin or Kim Jong Un. How can foreign powers say, or adversaries predict what these quote unquote madmen can do? Do they deploy psychologists to see, or do they have spies that how is he thinking, how is his mental state, which side of the bed did he wake up from that morning?
Outsiders try to look at the psychology of these leaders, because the more power you have concentrated in the hands of just one man, the more important it becomes what's going on inside his head. A psychologist called Dr. Post spent the majority of his life trying to do exactly that. So the American government would ask him to try to come up with psychological profiles of these leaders, because they wanted to anticipate what they might do. So one of the people that he looked at, for example, was Saddam Hussein, because the government of the United States wanted to know, okay, if he's under pressure, what is he going to do? Is he still rational? Is his primary aim survival, or is he looking for the greatness of Iraq? What might he do? Does he want to be a martyr? And psychology is a big factor, but since you mentioned nuclear weapons in particular, structure is another. So one of the terrifying things that I have in the book is the example of North Korea. So by and large, dictators are not interested in designating a successor, because the moment that you designate a successor, you almost hand a dagger to somebody who now has a big interest in seeing you fall. There are some exceptions, but by and large, this is how it works. So imagine now you're Kim Jong-un, you're a nuclear weapon state, and you don't have an interest in creating a successor, because creating a successor puts your rule at risk. What would happen if, let's say, conflict escalates between South Korea and North Korea, and for some reason, Kim Jong-un is nowhere to be found? He can't be contacted, maybe communication systems are down, whatever. In the case of the United States, if this were to happen, power would then move from the president to the vice president, so there's a mechanism to deal with this eventuality. What the North Koreans did is they created almost an automatic system whereby if their leader can no longer be reached, power isn't delegated, but they just send the nukes. And that's especially dangerous because the South Koreans are judging that since Kim Jong-un doesn't really care about the vast majority of North Koreans because they are irrelevant to his power, if conflict were to escalate with North Korea, they would have to find something else that Kim Jong-un might care about, and that is his life. So if you have that escalation of conflict, the South Koreans would try to find Kim Jong-un and kill him. And Kim Jong-un knows that. So he would have to assume that anything that may happen in his vicinity, any rockets, anything that comes in, would be directed at him, even though it might not be. Perhaps the South Koreans are just going for an ammunition depot or something like that. So you've got all these structural and psychological factors that make it incredibly dangerous when just one person has all this power.